Have you ever wondered what the world would look like if history had taken a different turn? What if, instead of the United States, it was the Soviet Union that emerged victorious from the Cold War? It's a fascinating and, frankly, a chilling thought experiment. Let us dive into this alternate reality and explore what a world under Soviet dominion might have been like. First, let's set the stage. How could this have even happened? The Cold War wasn't just a single battle. It was a decades-long struggle on multiple fronts: economic, ideological, technological, and military. For the USSR to win, a series of critical events would need to unfold differently. Perhaps the Cuban Missile Crisis escalates, but not to full-scale nuclear war, instead leading to a major strategic concession from the US. Or maybe the Soviet economy, against all odds, avoids stagnation in the 70s and 80s. Imagine if Soviet cybernetics and computer technology, which were surprisingly advanced in their early days, had outpaced Silicon Valley. A key turning point could have been the Vietnam War. A more decisive North Vietnamese victory, coupled with deeper and more prolonged social unrest in the United States, could have critically weakened American global influence and morale. Let's imagine a scenario where the internal political turmoil in the U.S. of the late 60s and 70s spirals, leading to a period of isolationism, leaving a power vacuum that a confident and economically stable Soviet Union eagerly fills. So, in this alternate timeline, the year is 2024, and the hammer and sickle flies over every capital city. What does daily life look like for the average person? The first thing to understand is that the concept of consumer choice as we know it would be virtually non-existent. Forget scrolling through endless options on Amazon. Your apartment, your car, your clothes, even the food you eat, would be determined by the state's Central Planning Committee. The Gosplan, the State Planning Committee, would be the most powerful economic entity on the planet. Its 5-year plans would dictate the production of everything, from steel quotas in the German Democratic Republic to wheat harvests in the American Socialist Republic. The focus would be on heavy industry, military hardware, and massive infrastructure projects. Think high-speed maglev trains connecting continents, but with little regard for comfort or aesthetics. Consumer goods would be an afterthought, functional, durable, but drab and uniform. Malls would be replaced by State Department stores, where you'd be lucky to find one type of soap or a single brand of shoes. The queues, a hallmark of Soviet life, would now be a global phenomenon. Technology would be completely different. The Internet, as we know it, a decentralized network of free expression and commerce, would be a terrifying concept to a totalitarian regime. Instead, we'd have a global, state-controlled network, a red web or SovNet. It would be heavily censored and monitored, designed not for connection, but for control. Its primary purpose would be to disseminate state propaganda, facilitate state-run services, and monitor citizen activity. There would be no Google, no Facebook, no Twitter. Your online identity would be directly tied to your state ID, and every click, every message, every search would be logged and analyzed by the global KGB. Social media would be replaced by state-sanctioned forums where citizens could praise the premier and report on their neighbors' anti-socialist behavior. Encryption would be outlawed for the general public, making true privacy a relic of a bygone capitalist era. What about culture? Art, music, and film would be powerful tools of the state. The guiding principle would be socialist realism. All creative works would have to glorify the worker, celebrate the achievements of the party, and promote communist ideology. Hollywood would be gone, replaced by Mosfilm Global, churning out epic films about heroic cosmonauts, triumphant factory workers, and the eternal struggle against residual capitalist thought. Rock and roll, hip-hop, and other decadent Western music genres would be banned. The airwaves would be filled with patriotic marches, folk music approved by the Ministry of Culture, and symphonies composed to celebrate the latest 5-year plan. Underground, however, a vibrant counterculture would likely thrive. Banned books would be secretly passed from hand to hand as digital files on encrypted drives. Coded messages and allegorical art would become the language of dissent. Secret jazz clubs and punk rock shows would take place in hidden basements, with participants risking years in a labor camp for a few hours of freedom. The political landscape would be monolithic. The entire world would be a federation of Soviet socialist republics, all governed from the global capital, Moscow. The Supreme Soviet would be the world's parliament, but it would be a rubber-stamp body, unanimously approving decisions made by the real center of power, the Politburo. There would be no multi-party elections, no free press, and no genuine political debate. The only political party would be the Communist Party. Every few years you would be expected to vote in single-candidate elections, where the choice is to vote yes for the party's approved candidate, or risk the consequences of abstaining or voting no. The world would be run by a gerontocracy, a council of aging party loyalists who have been in power for decades. Leadership changes would be opaque, often the result of backroom power struggles and purges, not popular will. Society would be structured around the collective, not the individual. Your life path would be largely determined by the state. From a young age, you'd be a member of youth organizations like the Young Pioneers, learning to march, chant slogans, and pledge allegiance to the party. Your education and career would be assigned based on aptitude tests and the needs of the state. If the Gauss plan needed more engineers in the Siberian industrial zones, that's where the top science students would be sent, regardless of their personal desires. The traditional family unit would be promoted, but the state would be the ultimate authority. Children would be taught to be loyal to the party above all else, even their own parents. Neighbors would be encouraged to watch and report on each other through a network of block wardens and informants, creating an atmosphere of pervasive suspicion. But it wouldn't all be grim oppression. The state would provide certain securities that are hotly debated in our world today. Healthcare would be universal and free, as would education through university. Unemployment would be officially non-existent, as the state would guarantee everyone a job, though UD have no say in what that job is or where it is located. Housing would be provided, though it would likely be cramped, standardized apartments in massive concrete complexes. Major scientific endeavors, unburdened by commercial concerns, might see incredible breakthroughs. With the full resources of the planet at its disposal, the Soviet space program could have established permanent bases on the Moon and Mars. State-funded research into fusion power or artificial intelligence might have advanced rapidly, albeit with all benefits flowing directly to the state, not the people. The world might be more equal in a sense. The vast gap between the ultra-rich and the poor would be eliminated. Everyone would be equally poor except for the party elite, the nomenklatura, who would enjoy access to special stores, foreign goods, and luxurious dachas, creating a new class system disguised as a classless society. In this Soviet-ruled world, the concept of freedom would be redefined. It wouldn't mean freedom from the state, but freedom through the state. The freedom from want, from unemployment, from the chaos of the market. But the price would be the freedom of thought, of speech, of movement, and of choice. It's a world of stark trade-offs, security for liberty, stability for dynamism. It's a world without the color and chaos of individual expression, a world painted in shades of gray and red. This alternate history serves as a powerful reminder of the values we often take for granted. The world we live in is far from perfect, but the freedom to disagree, to create, to choose our own path, these are precious things. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into a history that never was. What do you think would be the biggest change in a Soviet-run world? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring these kinds of alternate realities, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more what-ifs. See you in the next one.